Quest Audiobooks presents an unabridged recording of Cut and Shut by T.W.M. Ashford. Narrated by Tom Alexander. Chapter 1. Commander Elo stomped up a cramped stairwell that stank of piss, her bulky body armor scraping against its old, chalky walls as the rain outside drilled against the slitted windows set into each landing. A draft sent a shiver down her feelers. Cruddy tower estates like these weren't fit for living in, yet every single poxy apartment was occupied by a family fighting to get by, and just generally fighting, if the myriad raised voices were any indication. Doors slammed shut on every floor she passed. This was hardly unusual. Officers of the Ministerium were almost universally disliked by the general public, but by this particular species especially. Homo sapiens, still at the bottom of the food chain, no matter how desperately some of their kind tried assimilating themselves into Kapamentis' popular culture. She shared a curt nod with an officer stationed at the top of the stairwell, then followed the corridor around towards apartment 1412. Precarious stacks of plastic crates, a torn couch with its stuffing poking out, flanked by empty beer bottles, crude graffiti, a skull painted in bright neon pinks and yellows. The north-facing wall was exposed to the elements and overlooked a quadrangle far below. The humans had installed basketball hoops on the walls and etched outlines of courts and pitches on the floor amongst the tumble-down market stalls. A second ministry executor guarded the door to the apartment. The faceless officer floated aside upon her approach without comment. The door itself used old-fashioned hinges rather than the modern and more common maglock system, or at least it had done before the officers tasked with investigating the tip-off booted it inwards. Elo squeezed herself through the door frame. The apartment was no less cramped than the stairwells and corridors. Smelled worse, too. The stale, recycled air was tainted by a stuffy, distinctly human perfume. Sweet, tangy, not dissimilar to that of farm-bred livestock. She questioned how their kind could stand it. The initial room was predominantly occupied by a pair of wrinkly leather armchairs facing a 100-plus-inch flat-screen display, presuming one didn't count the assortment of dented beer cans and cigarette stubs littering the dusty concrete floor. Behind this was a small tiled kitchen area full of cheap electrical appliances Elo struggled to understand.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?